Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing today? Are you liking this fresher weather? Isn't that great? And I do welcome you to be here today. I am president and founder of MS Views and News. This is officially our 11th MS Symposium. Isn't that great? 11 years we've been doing this. So, I wanted to thank our sponsors of today's program. All right, we have a lot of sponsors today. I'm sure that you made it through our resource room. We have our platinum sponsor is Celgene. We have bronze sponsors of Memorial Healthcare System, Sanofi Genzyme, Novartis, and Genentech. We have our community sponsors of Mallinckrodt and Curaleaf, and we have our educational supporter is Biogen. And I hope that you could all give them a round of applause because they deserve it. All right, in addition to them, we have, well, I want to thank all of you for attending, all right? So my thanks to all of you for being here. Thank you very much. We also want to give thanks, please, to our volunteers, all right? My family. We have a lot of family here today that are helping out, all right? And again, the MS Views and News staff. Of course, we should give everybody a round of applause, all right? Thank you. Thank you. Our next presenter is going to hopefully get you all out of your seats as well. She's a physical therapist. Her name is Gretchen Hawley. She's a director of physical therapy and a multiple sclerosis certified specialist. After graduating from Simmons University in Boston, Massachusetts, she developed a MS physical therapy program alongside two of the city's top MS neurologists. Dr. Hawley utilizes the concept of neuroplasticity in her online MS wellness program, the MS Link, to help her clients reduce fatigue, get stronger, improve their balance, and walk better. Her members feel more energized and empowered, alive, and more than their normal self again and again. Dr. Hawley has been a keynote speaker at several MS conferences, lectures frequently for MS support groups, and continues to keep herself up to date on the newest and best MS practices by attending the MS Consortium each year. Dr. Hawley resides in Maine with her dog named Finn. Let's welcome Dr. Hawley.
All right, hello everyone. It's very bright up here. I am so thankful that you guys all came out today for all of these presentations. I know it can be very overwhelming and hard to get out of your home, so thank you for being here. Thank you for MS Views and News for having me. And if you can, please stand up right now. If you have the ability to stand, please do. If for some reason you can't, both arms up in the air, and you can wave them around. Shake your legs out. You've been sitting for at least an hour. Let's get the blood moving, get the arms going, muscles working, little shimmy. All right, perfect. Now slowly have a seat. If you need to stand up at any time and just shake your legs out, feel free to do so. We need to get you guys up and moving. Awesome. I still remember, I'll never forget this moment. I was in the physical therapy office that I was working at, and I was bringing a brand new patient who has multiple sclerosis back to the office with me. It was her very first initial evaluation day, and I had her sit down on this blue treatment table. So she sits there, I was sitting on a chair across from her. My laptop was pulled up, I was ready to type some notes and ask her, so what's going on with her MS symptoms? And I said, Carol, what is your biggest goal that you have right now? And she said, at the age of 24, that her biggest goal was to be able to stand for 20 minutes so that she could go to a bar and hang out with her friends. And then I had another patient who sat on that same blue treatment table, and he said that his goal was to be able to walk into a pizza shop to pick up his pizza and not constantly have to order delivery. And then another patient said that her goal was to just be able to go out to dinner somewhere with her husband, but she often didn't have the energy to do so. And then another patient who sat on that same table had the goal of being able to walk in a grocery store without people thinking that he was drunk. And these stories, these goals really got to me, because these people were just like you and me, and they should not have these things happening to them on a day-to-day basis that most people take for granted. So it was at that point that I made it my mission to help as many people with MS as I could, and not only just to help them, but figure out what is the best way that physical therapy can help each and every one of you specifically. So over the last 5 years, I've gone to as many continuing education events as I could to learn more about the effectiveness of physical therapy in multiple sclerosis. I have talked to the top MS neurologists that I could. I've dove into the research and really figured out what the best strategies are so that you actually feel a difference in your physical therapy routine and exercises. So I did just that, and that is what I'm going to be sharing with you guys today on my presentation. So I want to just jump in and get started with you guys. So we're going to do several things today. In the next 30 minutes, I promise, there's going to be 3 different things. First, I want to teach you exactly how you can get better. By a show of hands, has anyone gone to physical therapy? We'll start with that. Okay, now keep your hands up if you feel like it helped. Good, awesome. So several hands stayed up, but several actually also went down. I want to educate you on how you actually can improve, because it's really important. If you don't believe that you can get better, Dr. Harris just asked, do you think you have control over the future? And maybe, maybe not, but there are definitely things you can do right now, and I'm going to tell you why and how that works. We're also going to go over exercises, so I hope you're ready to get your body moving. And we're going to go over a physical therapy option that is actually online. So just to start us off, what needs to happen in order for a muscle to move? So the first thing that needs to happen is the brain has to work. You need to say, lift my leg up. And this happens really quickly. You might not even realize you're having the thought. But your brain needs to say, okay, I want to lift my leg up. Or it's a reflex, one or the other. Once your brain says that, then the nerve needs to kick in, and your brain sends a neural signal to wherever it is that you're looking to move, whether it's your leg, your arm, whatever it is, and then the muscle works. So most of the time in multiple sclerosis, the issue is in that middle section where the nerve is. And that's, as you know, because the myelin is deteriorating, so that whether there's no myelin there or there's less, you may have some movement or no movement. And if that nerve is not working properly, that's when you're going to notice some weakness as well as lack of coordination, some instability. Also, by a show of hands, how many people know what neuroplasticity is? Okay, so neuroplasticity I want to talk to you about right now, and I'm going to spend a good couple of minutes on this slide because it is the reason, the main reason that anyone in this room, MS or not, you can improve your strength because of neuroplasticity. So neuroplasticity is the idea and the theory that your brain actually can create new pathways for movements to occur. And this has been proven time and time again in research, more so in the last couple of years than ever before. So your brain actually does this. So I'm going to show you an example to make it more applicable. Because I'm standing on the stage, I'm going to use my arm, but just know that this theory applies to your legs, for foot drop, for lifting your knee, for anything. So let's say I have a goal of bending my elbow. First, my brain says, Dr. Gretchen, bend your elbow. So I try to, and it doesn't work. So what that means is that right here in my brain is the part that needs to fire up to make that movement occur. And then it sends a neural signal that didn't work because my arm didn't move. So then I try for a second time. And instead of using the same pathway that didn't work, it's going to do maybe a zigzag. And then maybe it will do a swirly into zigzag on my third try. And I'm going to try this 1,000,000 times. At some point, research is proving that at somewhere along the way, whether it's your 5th try or your 6,000th try, that it will work. And whether it's maybe all the way down here, there's trillions of different ways to get from point A to point B, trillions. So the only way to find one that works is by repetition, over and over and over again. And it's really hard because you don't know it's happening, you can't see neuroplasticity happening, you definitely can't feel it, you can't hear it. You really have to trust that behind the scenes in your brain, this is working. And let's back up a second and say, maybe I do have some movement, but maybe it's really hard to bend my elbow as much as I want to. So that means I do have a neural pathway from point A to point B that's working. It's just not strong. So in that case, every repetition that I do, it's strengthening that pathway that's already there. So if you have foot drop and when you walk, your toes drag, then maybe you don't have any movement or you have some movement, but it's just not good. Through practicing a specific exercise for a foot drop, your brain is either going to strengthen that neural pathway that's there, or it's going to find a new pathway. And it just takes repetition. I do want to point out that neuroplasticity can be amazing. It can be really great for reasons like that. You can significantly help your foot drop, or lifting your leg for walking, or balance, whatever it may be. But there is a catch. It can be bad for you too. Your brain is going to find pathways for whatever you're doing more of. So if I'm practicing lifting my leg like this, because when I walk I need to lift my leg, but I'm doing something funky and maybe my knee's flailing out to the side, my foot's coming in, my brain's going to remember that, and it's going to create a pathway for that. And then every time I walk, instead of my knee coming straight up, my knee's going to flail out to the side, and then I risk tripping just because it was bad form. So you need to make sure that whatever the movement is that you're practicing is perfect quality, and I'll talk more about how you can do that in a little bit. But neuroplasticity can be good and bad. It's great if you're doing the right exercises with perfect form. Does that make sense? Can you understand how that would apply to you in your life? Okay. So not only is it amazing that neuroplasticity happens with MS, because it doesn't happen in all diseases. So the fact that it even exists for people with MS is amazing. Additionally, we have a protein, everyone does, MS or not, we have a protein, BDNF, or brain-derived neurotrophic factor. And this is a protein that is released in our brain. And it not only will help support the survival of existing pathways that are already there, but it also will encourage growth of new pathways. So whether you have some or no movement in your foot, your knee, your hip, your arm, wherever, this protein, when released, will support the growth of new ones or the survival of ones that are already there. And it also can help with cognitive improvement by alleviating depression and anxiety. And the amazing thing about BDNF is that the way you get it to be released in your body is through exercise. So as long as you're exercising, and not only exercise, only 20 minutes. So you can no longer use the excuse of I don't have enough time, because it's literally 20 minutes, and it can be broken up throughout the day, but 20 minutes of your time spent exercising will release this protein so that you can get more neuroplasticity happening for your neural pathways. Not only that, but MRIs are actually proving that people who are more fit and exercise consistently have less damage in their brain. This is shown through MRIs when people go for their 6-month or annual visit, that there is less damage in parts of the brain that have deterioration. They have improved recovery from MS attacks or exacerbations, and they have reduced long-term disability. Exercise does all of that. So if you have MS, maybe a relapsing version, maybe a progressive version, either way, MRIs are proving that exercise can be helpful for you in this way. So we're going to move on to our second category there, which is actually exercising. But I want to cover a couple very important topics first, because there is a big difference between exercise, personal training, regular orthopedic physical therapy, neurophysical therapy, and an MS specialist physical therapist. They're all very different. But when you have MS, it is extremely important that you are doing functional exercises. And this means that you are going to pick an activity that's hard for you to do, and you break that activity down into many different exercises, and those are the exercises that you do. So for those of you who raised your hands about attending physical therapy in the past, do you raise your hand if you've done straight leg raises, clamshells, side lying exercises, or lying down exercises? Yeah, we have some hands going up. Those are great exercises. However, a brain and spinal cord nerves that are affected by MS does not have the same carryover. So you may have full strength in a seated or lying down or lying on your back, side lying exercise, full strength. But then you go to stand up and those muscles aren't working. And it's because it wasn't functional. Functional means you are in the exact position that you have a goal of doing something better. So if you have a goal of climbing stairs better, then you need to practice climbing stairs. And if that's too hard, practice just the movement of lifting your knee up. You need to lift your knee up in order to climb the stairs. You need to bend your knee in order to climb the stairs. So you're breaking down the movements of these activities that you have a goal of improving, and those are your exercises. And there are tons of these functional exercises in my online MS program, The Missing Link. They are all based on neuroplasticity and being functional. How many people do you see this bike? It's called the New Step. How many people have been on a New Step before? Yeah, several hands rising. So it's a great one. It's a perfect exercise to get your heart rate up. It does do some good strengthening in your legs, but it is not a functional exercise unless you have a goal of biking better. So if you have a goal of maybe biking on the street somewhere in a recumbent bike, not even a regular bike, then you will only improve your strength on this bike. If you can ride at level 10 for an hour, that does not mean your walking will be better. Your muscles will get stronger in a seated position. So it's good, it's still a good exercise. I'm not bashing the New Step, but you additionally need to incorporate functional exercises. A perfect example of a functional exercise is our gait cycle of walking. How many people have a goal of improving their walking, whatever that means for you? Okay, a bunch of hands. So I'm going to show you what walking actually is, because a lot of people will say, Dr. Gretchen, I have this goal of walking better. I just want to walk better. And they think it's just one thing, walking. When in reality, you need to be able to bend your knee, swoop your leg up, swoop your toes up so your toes don't hit the ground, straighten your knee, put your heel down, shift your weight forward, and all while that was happening, I was standing on one leg. So there are 7 different things. You need to bend the knee, swoop the knee, toes up, straighten, heel down, shift your weight forward, and you were on one leg the whole time. So if any of those 7 things you're having a difficult time doing, that's what you need to be practicing if you want to be walking better. Because if you're just practicing walking as a whole, you're going to strengthen the muscles that are already strong, but you're not at all working on the ones that are weaker. And the ones that are weaker is why your walking is the way that it is. So walking can be broken down into at least 7. I'm sure I could think of more if I was given the chance to on stage, but at least 7 different movements in order to improve your walking. And in the Missing Link, there is a whole section of walking exercises. We have exaggerated walking and breaking down these steps into specific exercises. So we're going to do an exercise right now. So if you can, I want you to give yourself just a little bit extra space and scoot to the edge of your chair. Sit up nice and tall. I'll give you a couple of seconds to get into position. And as always, tighten your core muscles if you can. Just nice and firm. And what you're going to do, I'm going to demonstrate on stage, but you can look at the slide as well. All you're going to do is bring your knee up towards the ceiling, as high as you can absolutely go, and then slowly down. And then the other side, slowly up, as high as you can go. Bonus points if you can swoop your toes up too and not just let them hang. Slowly down. And then slowly up. So when you're doing this, you guys keep going. I'm going to talk to you about why you're doing this exercise, but if you can, keep going as many repetitions as you can to get your brain finding that pathway that's working or finding a new pathway. And one thing you might realize is that one leg is a lot harder than the other leg, and that's completely normal. And I want to point out, even if one of your legs right now is not moving at all, if you're saying, lift your leg, lift, and nothing's happening, as hard as this might sound to do, keep practicing. I know it might not make sense right now, but because of neuroplasticity, practice over and over again, and it can be really discouraging, but even if there's no movement, just simply practicing, your brain, every time you say lift, is trying to find a new pathway to make it happen. And or, if you do have some movement, make sure you're practicing consistently, because it will strengthen that pathway that is there. And this is a really great exercise because A, you need it for walking. Yes, you're sitting, but it's the same movement as me doing it standing like this. And if I take a step forward, I need to be able to lift my leg like that. So whether you have a goal of walking better, or maybe you don't walk, you're just mostly sitting or in a wheelchair, in order to reposition yourself, to move forward, backward, sideways, to transfer from one surface to the other, you need to be able to lift your leg in this way. So this is a very functional exercise. You can do it here, you can do it as you're watching TV, you can do it at work, you can do it anywhere. This one we're not actually going to practice right now, mostly for safety reasons, but as I demonstrated to you, if you have a goal of walking better, if you're not using an assistive device, you must balance on one leg. So if you don't have good balance on one leg, your walking's not going to be great. Now let's say you use an assistive device. That's great, but assistive devices are not meant for you to put 100% of your body weight through. In fact, if you do, you're at a huge risk for falling. So they're mostly just meant to help you keep your balance, keep stability, but you still need to have decent single leg balance if you're using a walker or a cane or any type of assistive device. So this is one example. There's also examples in the missing link if you tend to lose your balance when you're reaching for something. Maybe you're reaching in your closet, maybe you're reaching for a water that's on the table and you feel a little unsteady. There's weight shifting exercises for things like that. It's not all just balancing on one leg. This one we are going to practice. So again, if I know some of you guys are starting to eat, but if you can give yourself a little bit of a room. This person is standing. We're all going to do it in a seated position. So I want you to sit at the edge of your chair, and you're going to pick a spot on the ground. So you guys are on wood tile here. At home, if you're watching this and you have something on your carpet or just a point, it could even be a Post-it note that fell on the ground. But I want you guys to find a mark on the ground, and you're going to lift your leg up and tap your heel on that mark. So if you chose a mark that's too far away, choose a different one that's closer to you. Lift and tap with your heel, and then down. Then lift and tap. Nice and slow. What this is helping with, you guys keep going if you can. What this helps with, I don't know if anyone in this audience does this, but it's very common when you have multiple sclerosis to be walking, but all of a sudden your leg might cross in front of you, or your leg might fall out to this side. It's a little wonky walk. And this exercise trains your brain to put your foot exactly where you want it to go. If you don't practice this, it's called proprioception. If you don't practice this, I could be walking, my leg goes over here, maybe crosses. Every now and then, it might be frequently, might be not so often, but this exercise will help you walk and place your legs where you want them to go. So there are newest guidelines on how you can make these exercises most effective for you and get the biggest bang for your buck out of these exercises. So number one, if you do aerobic exercise very first before anything else, it primes your brain for neuroplasticity. I get so giddy when I talk about this because honestly, just the fact that neuroplasticity happens is amazing. But not only that, you can do aerobic exercise first and you're even more likely to promote that neuroplasticity. And aerobic exercise can be anything. We have a video in the missing link where it's a seated exercise and you get your arms moving, and it's a way to get your heart rate up and to get a cardio exercise without fatiguing your legs. This cardio does not need to be running on a treadmill or walking on a treadmill or biking, anything intense. Additionally, the repetitions of every single exercise you do needs to be high, as many repetitions as you can, because the more repetitions you do, the more time your brain is trying to find a neural pathway that works. So the highest number of repetitions, but it needs to be perfect quality. So I wouldn't want you doing 50 exercises if they're bad quality. Your brain remembers what you do more of. So if you're doing 50 repetitions and 40 of them were not good quality, the first 10 were superb because you weren't fatigued, you were feeling up for it, so the first 10 were great. But then 40 of them were wonky. Your brain is creating a neural pathway for the wonky ones. So stop. The last one is rest breaks. Take as many rest breaks as you need. You might only be able to do 1 repetition on your weak side, or 2 or 3 repetitions, then stop and rest. And then do maybe 2 or 3 more, then 1 or 2 more. So it doesn't have to be 10 exercises all at once, or 20 or 30. And likely your strong and weak leg are going to be different. On your strong leg, maybe you can do 10 times 3 sets. For your opposite leg, your weaker leg, maybe it's 5 times your first set, then 4 times, then 3 times, and you're taking lots of rest breaks, but they're perfect quality, and you are doing as many as you can. And lastly, distributed exercise has been proven to be just as good as massed exercise. And what this means for you is that exercising throughout your day is just as effective as exercising at one point. I can't tell you how many times I used to have my clients say, Dr. Gretchen, I just can't, I don't have an hour to exercise. And while that very well is true, I believe you that you don't have that much time, but it doesn't matter anymore. Exercise for 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes on your lunch break. Maybe if you have enough energy in the afternoon, 5 more minutes later on, 10 minutes here and there. Research proves now that doing them throughout the day is just as effective as doing them all at once. So you can't use that excuse anymore either. Additionally, a variable environment is better than a constant environment, and I have the perfect example for you guys. I have a patient, her name is Diane, and she came into the physical therapy clinic one day, and her husband said, Dr. Gretchen, I don't know what you're doing that's magic in here, but when you come in, or when Diane comes in and works with you, she can sit down without plopping, she can stand up perfectly, but as soon as we get home, Diane just plops down, she can't do it, she's just not doing good quality at home. And as soon as he said that, I knew that as much as I would like to say I'm a magician and I can help people right away in the clinic, it was because we were doing a constant environment. Every time Diane came in, we would sit in the same chair, we would practice standing up and sitting down nice and slow, perfect technique, and we'd use some modifications at first, but it was the same chair, in the same room. Research has proven that a variable environment, which would mean going to a different chair, a different surface, a different room, a different home, is so much better. It has much more carryover than always doing your exercises in the same place. So let's say maybe some of you in this room work out consistently. Maybe it's at home, maybe it's at a gym. If you're only doing it in that one place, there's less carryover. So what I said to Diane was, in our physical therapy clinic, we're going to go into each individual room, try the sit-to-stands on each individual chair. We're going to go to the neurology office across the way, use their chairs. You're going to do this in your home as well as your sister's home, and just do it in a variable environment, and it's so much more effective for you. And lastly, random order is better than a blocked order. So I demonstrated walking earlier. Blocked order would be every time I'm practicing walking, once I'm putting it all together, would be bending my knee, swooping my toes up, knee up, straight and down, every single time, the same order. Whereas a random order is every now and then. Maybe I'll start with just lifting my knee up for a couple repetitions, then maybe lifting my toes up, my ankle to prevent foot drop, then maybe bending my knee, then placing my foot down. So you're just picking apart the functional exercise and making it into a random order and then putting it together all at once in a blocked order. So moving into our last topic is the consistency challenge that I see on a day-to-day basis. And maybe some of you guys watching the live stream or here in this room have felt this, but it can be so challenging to get to physical therapy. And maybe you don't even have an MS specialist that's a PT near you. That might be the first challenge. I had so many clients who would drive 1 to 2 hours just to see me. And transportation can be challenging to get to PT consistently. Your insurance might cut you off from physical therapy visits at some point. Basically, you are dependent on so many other things to help you be consistent. And if you're not consistent, then you're not going to get the results that you're looking for. The weather might be an issue. You might not have someone that can take you so that you're less fatigued throughout the day. So there's lots of different issues of why physical therapy can be challenging. I'm sure you guys have experienced some of those. And oftentimes, before people are members of the Missing Link, they tell me things like, I am just so fatigued, I am so tired, I feel so weak, frustrated, uncertain, unhopeful, and trapped because they don't have resources around them or they just can't get to them consistently enough. And about a year ago, just over a year ago, the MS Association of America released this article that was a call to exercise. Study supports effectiveness of telerehab in MS, which basically proved that virtual rehabilitation, virtual physical therapy, was just as effective as going to a physical therapist in person. It was around that same time that I developed my program, The Missing Link. It's an online MS wellness program that is basically, if you wanted to see me and get all of my education, I put every single ounce of what I've learned over the last 5 years about MS into this program. So there are exercises that you can do at home. In fact, all of them are at home. This is a screenshot of one of the exercises where you can be sitting watching TV or at work, and they are neuroplasticity-based exercises specific to multiple sclerosis for strengthening, stretching, balance, and walking. And not only that, but I included different home exercise programs so that if you're the type of person who needs to know which exercises to do each day, it lays it out for you. It tells you what to do every single day to work towards your goals. There are also lots of activity-based exercises. So if you're someone who has a difficult time walking or climbing the stairs or standing up from the ground or walking without your knee buckling or hyperextending underneath you, getting into and out of your car, getting into and out of bed. There are so many activities on a day-to-day basis that you need to be able to do to function well. So there's a whole section where I demonstrate how to do those things. And if you're someone who suffers from fatigue or heat intolerance or cold intolerance or difficulty doing 2 things at one time, there's a whole section for symptom management strategies that are not necessarily related to physical exercises, but all of the other symptoms that come with having MS. I also have a research update section so that you personally do not need to be the ones going through the journals and the articles to figure out what is this new drug that was released and what is this and that. There's so much being released in the MS world, luckily, because we have so much research now. So I go through that and I bring to you in video format what is happening in the MS world. And we have live guest speakers that you can join or watch the recording that are some of the top MS neurologists in the US. We've had an occupational therapist, we've had a yoga instructor, we've had nutrition, so many different categories. So, because to be honest, I feel like I am an expert in the physical therapy world. I am not an expert at MS nutrition. I'm not an expert neurologist. So I bring those people to you, and you can join us live on those calls or watch the recordings. And perhaps most importantly, the accountability. When you sign up for the Missing Link, you get a call with me, and I can tweak it to be most what you need. So if you are more of someone who needs help with the task-specific exercises or strength or balance or sensation, I can tell you exactly which exercises and which videos would be best for you to watch and which home exercise program would be best for you to do. And we have an accountability group to help you stay on track and consistent with the exercises. And you have 24/7 access to emailing me where I can answer your questions. My clients, I love getting feedback from them, which is almost on a daily basis. And I can't tell you how many times my Missing Link members will email me and they'll say, Dr. Gretchen, I feel so much more energized. Or my favorite is empowered. If you feel empowered, you will do what you need to do in order to get better and reach your goals. So they feel more empowered, they feel stronger and alive. And so many people have said, I feel more like my normal self again. And it just pulls on my heartstrings. I'm so grateful that I have this platform where I can help so many people. I can't tell you the times I get comments like, I was able to walk down the aisle at my son's beach wedding this past summer, and she didn't think she would be able to do that. And I got another comment that my patient was able to walk her dog for the first time in years, and she was using a cane, but she hadn't been able to walk her dog because she was too unstable, but her balance got so much better. I have another person, several, who mentioned that they can now climb their stairs without having to swing their leg around or having to crawl up their stairs. So just these things throughout the day-to-day life that the Missing Link has been helping has been outstanding. So because all of you guys are here and willing to listen to my presentation, I wanted to gift you all a free trial of the Missing Link. If this program does sound like something you may be interested in, make sure I get your email address at the booth that we have out in the expo room. And on Monday, I'm going to email everyone with a link to sign up. You can do it on your own free time whenever you have a full 5 days, and you get 5-day access to exactly the program that I've been telling you about. If you feel like it's a good fit for you, awesome, we can talk about different membership options. If you feel like it's not a good fit for you, no harm, no done. There is no link where you'll then be signed up to have to pay for anything like that. And if you're watching on the live stream, if you send me an email, then I will be able to email you the link as well. And I truly believe it is my mission and my goal, my job, to help everyone in this room to help you dream bigger. Think about what activities do you want to be easier? What parts of your body do you want to be stronger? And I am here to help you with those things. So I hope you consider signing up for the free trial. And if you have any questions for me, please remember to write them down in the programs that you have right now. We'll be doing a Q&A at the end, and I'd love to answer any and all questions you have. Thank you so much.
Let's open that up. So for Gretchen, let's give her another round of applause. Thank you. Okay, you want to show the audience? Great. Perfect. Thank you. Perfect. Thank you.